Hello and welcome to another Analysis Behind the News, where we provide the perspective that you can use to help save American liberty and independence. Today we have 4 action items for you, so stay tuned. In a bid to expand Second Amendment liberty for all Americans, the House of Representatives introduced H.R. 38, which extends concealed carry reciprocity to citizens in all states that have concealed carry. According to Representative Thomas Massey from Kentucky, who is chairman of the Second Amendment Caucus in the House, he posted onto Facebook and Twitter that H.R. 38 has become tainted by the swamp. He wrote on December 2nd, "Last week, Republicans in the House fast-tracked through committee H.R. 4477, a gun bill titled Fix NICS. NICS is the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. This is big government's idea of tracking those that shouldn't own a firearm for one reason or another. This is another example of Congress and our judiciary not following the Constitution's Second Amendment. Apparently, shall not be infringed is not taught in school, but I digress." Back to Congressman Massey. The Senate version of the bill is co-sponsored by Senators Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer, and it will send $625 million over 5 years to states to expand the National Background Check database. The bill will also advance former President Obama's agenda of pressuring every branch of the administration, such as the Veterans Administration, to submit thousands of more names to the NICS background check system to deny gun purchases. The House bill is identical in every way to the Senate bill, except the House bill will also commission a study on bump stocks. He continues, "What you don't know, and what virtually no one in Washington wants you to know, is that the House leadership plans to merge the Fix NICS bill with the popular concealed carry reciprocity legislation, H.R. 38, and pass both of them with a single vote." He writes, "Folks, this is how the swamp works. House leadership expects constituents to call their representatives demanding a vote on the reciprocity bill when in fact the only vote will be on the 2 combined bills. How fast did Fix NICS H.R. 4477 move through the Judiciary Committee?" he asks. "This bill broke the previous records for fast-track legislation. It was voted out of committee within hours of being introduced in the House. Check the dates on this link," he provides. That means the text of the bill wasn't even discoverable by the public on congress.gov until after the bill passed out of committee. The text was, however, available over at the Senate, where you will find Senator Dianne Feinstein and Senator Chuck Schumer as co-sponsors. Folks, any legislation that has anything to do with guns from Senators Feinstein and Schumer is going to be anti-Second Amendment. You can take that to the bank. And the fact that Republican leadership is doing this should demonstrate to you the level of their commitment to liberty. They'd rather add to the swamp than to drain it. Congressman Massey is suggesting that we contact our congressman to let them know that H.R. 38 and H.R. 4477 be kept separate and each receive its own vote. So that's action item number 1. Contact your U.S. senators at 202-224-3121 and your U.S. representative at 202-225-3121 and ask that the combined bill be split. These phone numbers will be available in the video description too. Our other 2 topics come from the New American News magazine. Headline on the first is Trump admin orders withdrawal from UN Migrant accommodating agreement. Joel Wolverton reports, on Saturday, December 3rd, the Donald Trump administration alerted the Office of the United Nations Secretary General that the United States of America is withdrawing from a UN agreement aimed at handling migrant and refugee issues. He continues, I should mention, the UN is seeking a declaration to propose a global compact on refugees by 2018. The article continues, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley said that America is proud of our immigrant heritage and our long-standing moral leadership in providing support to migrant and refugee populations across the world, across the globe, and that our generosity will continue. She added, but our decisions on immigration policies must always be made by Americans and Americans alone. We will decide how best to control our borders and who will be allowed to enter our country. The global approach in the New York Declaration is simply not compatible with U.S. sovereignty. Mr. Wolfson writes, and that is the core issue. Sovereignty surrendered to the United Nations or to any other governing body, whether it be through resolutions or trade agreements, is not compatible with the U.S. Constitution, which in Article 4, Section 4, guarantees to each state a republican form of government. A republic, as defined by James Madison in Federalist No. 10, is a form of government in which the scheme of representation takes place. No citizen of the U.S. votes for any representative of the United Nations, not even the one ostensibly representing the interests of the United States at the world body itself. Furthermore, there is but one just basis upon which government is founded, and that is consent of the governed. Americans have no way to consent to the resolutions debated and adopted by the United Nations, particularly not one which would force sanctions upon this country. And therein lies the rub, ladies and gentlemen. The issue of the United Nations has nothing to do with the amount of good it can do or how it should be reformed. The issue has to do with being able to independently govern one's own country. And this is why JBS has had the Get Us Out of the United Nations Action Project since its inception. So, action item number 2, tell Congress you support H.R. 193 to get us out of the United Nations. Link is in the description. And finally, our next New American article is headlined, Tillerson to be fired? What's taking so long? Mr. William Jasper writes, Rex Tillerson may soon be out as Secretary of State. Rumors began circulating on Thursday that President Trump would be firing the former ExxonMobil CEO, who has been at odds with much of the agenda that Trump campaigned on. Global warming, the UN Paris Climate Accord, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, foreign wars, China relations, NAFTA, immigration, and more. He goes on in the article, Tillerson's removal would be heartily applauded by all supporters of Trump's America First inclination, since Tillerson clearly represents the opposite orientation, especially as it relates to that ultimate bastion of world government internationalism, the Council on Foreign Relations. We noted last March in our report on the Trump-Tillerson adoption of Communist Beijing's One China doctrine and the administration's support of expanded U.S.-China trade that Tillerson, while not a CFR member, has nonetheless been active as a speaker and participant at CFR events. A search of the Council's website shows. Moreover, he has been endorsed or given high marks by CFR heavyweights and China lobby stalwarts such as Henry Kissinger, Condoleezza Rice, Stephen Hadley, and Dick Cheney. All of these developments stack up as decidedly unfavorable signs for those who are expecting or hoping for major reversals in our decades of disastrous policies regarding China. Folks, where else can you get such insight into what is happening in Washington? The New American provides a constitutional perspective to the news that is lacking in all other news outlets. Which brings us to action item number 3. Sign up for the free Top Daily Headlines email that provides 5 top constitutional news headlines of the day. Just go to thenewamerican.com and look for the Sign Up Today button. And yes, a direct link is included in the description. And if you like countering big government, then head over to jbs.org/6not5 to learn to use Article 6 of the Constitution to rein it in. That's action item number 4. And if you like what we do, then be sure to share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, we'll see you then. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Click here to watch more videos, and click here to visit our site.